currently 38 degrees here at 93.5, 1590 WAKR. Well, guess what? We're going to go and bring in our film study professor, Joe Fortunato. Your best guess at what movie we're looking at today. You guessed it. We're going to go back to the 80s. Let's bring him in, Joe Fortunato. Joe, take us to film school on Footloose, my friend.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. Yes, today we're celebrating one of the beloved movies of the 80s, Footloose, which celebrates its 40th anniversary.
Wow.
Believe it or not, this month, I should say. It was released February 17th, 1984. It was directed by Herbert Ross, written by Dean Pitchford, and, of course, it stars Kevin Bacon, as well as Laurie Singer and John Lithgow. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, both for original song, for Footloose and Let's Hear It for the Boy. It's among the AFI Institute's 2004 list of top 100 American greatest music in the movies for the song Footloose. So it does have some bona fides there to honor it as well. Now, believe it or not, it was actually based on a true story. Footloose's Beaumont, the city in Beaumont, is based on Elmore City, a town in Oklahoma, known for the saying, if the South is the Bible Belt, then we are the buckle. And dancing really was outlawed for like 90 years there until the juniors of the local high school asked to allow dancing at their prom. And the characters of Ariel, Wren, the Reverend, and so on have real-life prototypes in that town. And one resident even said the movie was just a Hollywood exaggeration of the truth. So, you know, we tend to think of that film as kind of a fantasy, but it was actually based in reality. Gene Siskel was maybe one of the few critics that liked the movie, so it does have some champions in critics' circle. It's not just a popular for the people. Herbert Ross, I should say, who directed the film, also directed the dance sequence or choreographed the dance and musical numbers in Funny Girl, starring Barbra Streisand, along with many other Hollywood musicals. And he also directed another sort of homespun ode to Americana, Steel Magnolias. So those are some of his credits. Kevin Bacon has said that he actually tips DJs at weddings not to play Footloose, because he stated that people expect him to dance to the song as he did in the movie, when in truth, he did some of the dancing. There was really a dancing double, so you know, he's not that good, and certainly now he's even older, so tipping DJs not to play Footloose.
With us is Joe Fortunato, Film School, looking at the 1984 movie Footloose, which I still say, and everybody has their own choices, I think one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard when you're talking about music inside inside the movies. But Joe, you like to take us behind the scenes and talk about casting and everything else, so why don't you go down that road?
Yeah, I'll talk about casting in just a second. Well, this is sort of related to that, I guess. But John Lithgow was filming scenes for Terms of Endearment while he was on break from shooting this film. So he was sort of working double duty in what would both become classic films. Diane Wiest and John Lithgow are actually 9 and 12 years older than Laurie Singer, who play their daughter. So that's some additional weird casting. Some of the casting history of what might have been, we always like to talk about that. Daryl Hannah turned down the offer to play Ariel in order to play the role in Splash. So she made another choice, and that worked out okay for her. Elizabeth McGovern turned down the role, and Melanie Griffith, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jamie Lee Curtis, Rosanna Arquette, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, so many others. I mean, Jodie Foster, Brooke Shields, they were all offered the role of Ariel and turned it down. Madonna also auditioned for the part. So apparently it wasn't up to snuff for a lot of those actresses, and Laurie Singer ended up getting the part. On the male side of things, Tom Cruise and Rob Lowe were both slated at one time to play the lead. The casting directors loved Cruise from his famous underwear dance and Risky Business, but he was unavailable because he was shooting All the Right Moves. Rob Lowe auditioned 3 times and had some dancing ability, but he actually pulled a knee and had an injury that prevented him from taking the part, or else Rob Lowe might have been Wren in Footloose. But after watching the movie Diner, Herb Ross said he was convinced the producers that could go with Kevin Bacon. Another name that I think is sort of fun to speculate what might have been, John Travolta was offered the role and turned it down.
Wow, that is interesting. Never heard that one. Let me ask you this. You mentioned based on a town out in Oklahoma. Where was the movie filmed? Because it does look like they were out in the Great Plains.
Yeah, I'm not sure the location of the film. I'd have to look that up and get back to you. But I do know that it was filmed on location in part. I'm just not sure exactly where. Some more production notes, though, if you are interested in some of that. Kenny Loggins said that in the final scene, and Kenny Loggins, of course, is who did Footloose and the musical artist. In the final scene where the kids dance off in their prom night, the actors actually aren't dancing to Footloose, which is on the soundtrack, but rather to Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. And Loggins' song was added during post-production, so they're dancing to Johnny Be Good on the set, and Footloose was the song that was playing. Chris Penn, whose character had to learn how to dance, was added. Those scenes were added to the script because Penn really could not dance, so they had to show him coming along. And I like this is a little tidbit. We talk about movies and they're kind of frivolous and fun, and we love them, but movies do matter. And during the filming of another film, one of the characters playing a circus strongman took John Lithgow aside, and he wanted to share a personal story with him. And he said that he was from a small town in Louisiana where his own father was a Baptist minister and wouldn't allow the kids to dance or listen to rock and roll. When he saw Footloose, he explained that Lithgow's reverend character was the epitome of his own father. So he brought his father to see the film, and without any warning of its plot, his father was so touched by Lithgow's performance that the man said it was he was the first of 6 children that were then permitted to attend their high school prom. So that movie changed that man's life.
Well, that's cool. Joe Fortunato, film study professor, again, taking us back to 1984 for the anniversary release of the movie Footloose. Joe, my friend, great job as always. We'll do it again next Friday. Thanks for the visit, Joe. Joe Fortunato with us, taking us to film school. 21 minutes after 8 o'clock. By the way, you can go back and listen to it over at WAKR.net, WAKR.net. 22 minutes after 8 o'clock, it's the Ray Horner Morning Show. 93.5, 1590 WAKR.